Hello and welcome to Wednesday Debate Live with Taghreed Hussein here on Nile TV International. Well, tonight we'll be highlighting more than one important topic, talking about the ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon, and also possible reconstruction amid the U.S.-Israel-led war on Iran, between the challenges that lie ahead and also facts. As we know, women in Gaza and Lebanon are bearing a disproportionate share of the suffering in the ongoing conflict in those areas, with over 38,000 women and girls killed in Gaza between October 2023 and December 2025 alone. And amidst this unprecedented sense of violence, they have shifted from traditional roles to become the primary heads of households or caregivers for the wounded, or even active frontline humanitarian responders, while enduring the suffering, the starvation, and also the forced displacement. The humanitarian needs also in the Middle East that are growing by the day throughout the escalation of the violence that would force different families to flee their homes and push the communities deeper into crises. The war has definitely reshaped the lives of families and left many households headed by women after the loss of husbands and loss of relatives. These women now carry the full weight of caregiving, income, as well as survival. So tonight we'll be highlighting the responsibilities, the priorities of the different groups, as well as the influence of gender roles and power dynamics in shaping the experiences, also the coping strategies and needs of the impacted population, with our guest, Mrs. Simone Salim, UN Gender Advisor, but right after having a look at the top stories of the day. Earlier in the day, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had received the president of Hiroshima University, Uchu, on Wednesday. In the meeting, the president emphasized Egypt's commitment to expanding cooperation with Japan to modernize curricula and enhance educational quality. The president said such target can be achieved through integrating advanced technologies as AI, artificial intelligence, to prepare the students for the demands of the labor market. For his part, Mr. Uchu hailed the ongoing collaboration of the university with the government. The Japanese official praised Egyptian efforts to reform the educational system and reaffirmed the university's dedication to support the state's priorities for modernizing specific methodologies. The meeting was at Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Education Mohammed Abdel Latif. It centered on distinguished bilateral relations and the long-standing partnership that binds Egypt and Japan in the field of basic and higher education. And highlighting that important headline, we're honored to be joined by Professor Dr. Wael Badawy, Professor of Artificial Intelligence at the Egyptian Russian University. Dr. Badawy, thank you so much for joining us on the debate live tonight.
It's a pleasure to be with the debate.
Thank you. Dr. Wael, we are talking about this important headline, the meeting between His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the President of Hiroshima University, and Egypt's commitment, of course, to expanding cooperation with Japan in order to modernize the curricula, to enhance educational quality. How do you see integrating AI in the curricula today in order to prepare our students for the labor market?
It's an excellent question, and to start with, Egypt has a long history collaborating with Japanese institutions, and this is in the Egyptian University, Egyptian Japanese University for Science and Technology, which is for short EJUST. And this university has been acknowledged worldwide because of their different programs. Egypt also have in the undergraduate and in the basic education the Japanese schools, and all of these have been able to enhance the science, technology, mathematics for our students and our graduates. Yes. So getting exposure to the artificial intelligence in the Japanese context it matches the diversification of our government, because our government is looking to diversify the source of information and source of knowledge. So we have experience with the European, with the North American, and the Japanese will come as part of diversifying the source of information. So we do have a holistic, integrated approach for our education system. We have to remember also that Japan is very focused on the marriage between academic and the industry through their academic industry science technology parks, where they actually develop hardware and software which meet the industrial needs. So it's a very practical education techniques, very practical educations, and this is what we need. We don't want more theoretical approaches to artificial intelligence or to science and technology.
Yes, definitely. While we're talking about AI, we're talking definitely about modernizing scientific methodologies, and this is very important. The students today are before a curricula that would help them understand the demands of the labor market, and this is what really Egypt is really keen on, to invest in the human potential, to invest in our students today for their future. The future is in artificial intelligence, so the educational system, and how do you see, Dr. Wael, modernizing those scientific methodologies?
To modernize scientific technologies and to integrate artificial intelligence, it's a question have been posed in so many venues. One of the serious issues we have to talk about that our students right now are using AI tools to solve some questions. What we are looking for in the future is experiences from overseas, where how to integrate the use of artificial intelligence and its advantage into the education system. So how to transform courses, so the course part of it will be given and taken by artificial intelligence tools, and how the students can critique and judge the outcome of the artificial intelligence. We do have lots of projects in Egypt and lots of funded projects in Egypt. However, if we are exposed or we exchange information in this domain with a foreign country, in particular leading countries in education, science and technology such as the Japanese environment, I believe this will positively impact our students and our lifestyle. We have to understand that artificial intelligence is still fairly new. It's a technology about 3 to 5 years old only. And how to take advantage so it does not kill or it does not reduce the human invention and the innovation, while it's used as advanced calculators to enhance the outcome of the graduate. This is where we are looking now, and this is where we need lots of experience exchange between different nations to understand how to position it well in our curriculum. So reforming the curriculum to integrate artificial intelligence, it's nowadays a serious question. It has to be answered.
Definitely. I thank you so much, Dr. Wael Badawy, who is the professor of AI at the Egyptian Russian University, for joining us and discussing this important headline. Another important headline came as His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had received a cable of congratulations from Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli on Wednesday on the occasion that marks Labor Day. In his cable, the Prime Minister expressed his best wishes to the President on behalf of the Cabinet. His Excellency, the Prime Minister lauded the dedication of Egypt's workforce across all production sectors, praying for the nation's continued prosperity and the well-being of its loyal workers. He further reaffirmed the government's commitment to advancing national development goals, guided by the President's vision and the steadfast resolve of the Egyptian people. And on the second segment, we'll be discussing Gaza, Lebanon. What lies ahead for Gaza and Lebanon after Iran war remains the question. This report, and we'll be back.
As fragile ceasefires are in place between the United States and Iran and between Israel and Lebanon, a question is vexing Palestinians in Gaza. Will this de-escalation in other fronts allow Israel escalate its military assaults on Gaza or force it to adopt a more cautious path? Since April 8th, the US and Iran have maintained a tense ceasefire after weeks of US-Israeli bombing of Iran and Tehran's retaliatory strikes on Israel, as well as infrastructure and U.S. assets in the Middle East. But Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz and a U.S. blockade on Iranian ports loom large over the region, even as mediator Pakistan tries to bring the two rivals back to the negotiating table. U.S. President Donald Trump last week said Israel and Lebanon had agreed to extend their ceasefire by 3 weeks after talks between them were held at the White House to reach a long-term deal. The Israel-Lebanon talks excluded Hezbollah as near daily violations of the truce by Israel continue across southern Lebanon, where Israeli forces have established a yellow line demarcating the territory they are occupying, like they have done in Gaza. Since March the 2nd, when the latest escalation in fighting between the Israeli military and Hezbollah broke out, more than 2,500 people have been killed in Lebanon and more than 1 million displaced. Meanwhile, the Israeli government has indicated its readiness to continue the military operations in Gaza amid a relative calm on other regional fronts, raising fears among Palestinians of the all-out genocidal war returning to haunt them. The possibility of Israel resuming its assaults on Gaza is seen by some as an option for Israel as guns fall relatively silent on other fronts, but others see a renewed war on Gaza as a pressure tactic by Israel to influence the ongoing negotiations with Iran and Lebanon. There is a hidden crisis among women in conflict. While bombs and bullets make headlines, for millions of women and girls, the trauma of war, displacement, and repression is taking a devastating toll on their mental health. Women and children stand in a queue outdoors at a displacement shelter, waiting in line in a courtyard. Lebanon conflict drives mental health crisis for displaced women. We hear, see, and feel pain constantly. Escalating conflict in Lebanon has forced hundreds of thousands of women and girls to flee their homes, and women are on the front lines of the response. The escalation in Lebanon, now in its 6 weeks, has stoked fears across the country and led to a mass displacement crisis, with women and girls disproportionately affected. UN Women estimates that 1/4 of all women and girls across the country have been displaced since the 2nd of March. Since the escalation of the conflict, an estimated average of 16,750 women and girls have been forced to flee their homes each day due to widespread violence and evacuation orders. Girls from southern Lebanon severely impacted. Many are staying in informal arrangements and overcrowded shelters while taking care of children and the elderly. Here comes the question, the suffering. Why women and children in Gaza are losing their ability to speak, while the number of amputees set to rise in Gaza and Lebanon amid NGO warns.
We're back, and